Hey guys, what's up? Pinmore3 here. Can you guess where I am? I'd be very disappointed if you couldn't. It's Epona! And she's adorable. So welcome back to Let's Play The Legends of Ocarina of Time with your host, Pinmore3. In the last episode, we cleared up the Fire Temple, and I had a very stupid outro in which I forgot to get the Quiver upgrade, which I should have done before the temple. I didn't need it, but yeah, not one of my finer moments in forgetting to do something, but I knew I'd forget it otherwise, and it might actually be coming in handy in this next area that we're going to, because now we are setting our sights on Temple number 3, the very dreaded and infamous water temple, which I'm going to try to do as best I can for you guys. I know it pretty well, since I've had to do it several times, but we're going to see if we can't get through it as best we can. But that's likely not what we'll be seeing this episode, because, like with the Forest Temple, we can't just barge right on in there and, you know, expect everything to go hunky-dory. And similar to the Fire Temple, we are going to need a tunic. In this case, it will be one that will enable us to breathe underwater. So let's head to Zora's Domain and see if we can't find one. Because I think we might have shown it last time, there was a tunic available in the shop. Now, while I was running past it to go ahead and get to here, because, you know, every time that you start up your game as whenever you're an adult, you're going to end up back in the Temple of Time. For those of you that were wondering about the 4th bottle, I'm not going to worry about that until probably near the end of the game. If you want to get the 4th bottle now, it would be helpful, but it's certainly not necessary. I've almost always done this with 3 bottles, and so that's what I'm used to doing it with, so it's not going to bother me that I don't have all 4. And to be honest, I would want the next Quiver upgrade before going to get that, because getting that last bottle is kind of a pain, and you don't really need it to complete the game. Like, even if you're new to the series, you're probably not going to have 3 fairies and lose them all in any fight, so once again, to open Zora's Domain, you are going to have to still use the Zelda's Lullaby tune in order to get the waterfall to part. It looks like there's little drops of snow, or snowflakes that are kind of floating in the air. Makes you wonder what could have happened inside of here. Only to find out. Yeah, I know, they took my precious, precious area of water that I just loved so much, and that I, you know, talked about how wonderful it is, and they turned it into ice, which I detest, with an ironic, in saying this, with a burning passion, and all the Zoras have been frozen, including King Zora right here. You can talk to him all you want, but he's frozen. He's not exactly going to be much help right now. So it turns out, well, you can't do anything here. The first thing you actually need to do is head back over here to Zora's Fountain, where Lord Jabu Jabu was. There's no sign of him now. He's not frozen or anything. There's literally just no sign of him. But in addition to the tunic, there's another item that we need to pick up before entering the temple, and we're about to get that in this little mini-dungeon coming up here. First, we're going to go across the way right here. You have to do a bit of navigating on the platforms. The camera kind of makes some of them a little bit weird because it's, I don't know, it's at ground level instead of, like, you know, over the shoulder or top down, so it's kind of weird sometimes. But there's another piece of hearts. Now we have 14 hearts going in, so that's very good. This is also the only dungeon. It's technically more so a mini dungeon. It's not the actual water temple is not here, but it is the only one that actually contains a piece of heart within it. So make sure that you pick that up on the way. Technically, the one that's for the last temple also has one in a mini dungeon, but it's on the top of it, so I consider it kind of to be above the dungeon, not inside of the dungeon. But regardless, welcome to the Ice Cavern. This is a very short dungeon, like I said. It's more so of a mini dungeon than anything, but it still can pose a little bit of a challenge to you, so yeah, you've got some saw blades on the ground that you probably want to watch out for as best you can. What are these things called? Well, if I could get unfrozen, I can figure out. These are freezards. Really? Yeah, these things are very annoying. They'll blow an ice attack at you, and if you get hit by it, then you will be frozen. All you have to do is destroy it with a couple of sword slashes. However, if you don't destroy it completely, it will revive into its full form. Arrows are ineffective against it, as is the hook shot. I don't know about bombs. Bombs would be kind of hard to use on an ice stage, so not sure how effective or ineffective that would be. Out of curiosity, oh, I think I know what that is. If you play the, I think, Song of Storms or Zelda's Lullaby in that spot where she's turning green, there's obviously not a platform that you would need right there. I believe it produces a Great Fairy, which would restore all your hearts. I'll show that later also, because you can play Zelda's Lullaby whenever you're in front of one of those gossip stones, and they'll also appear there as well. So there are a couple spots to pick them up. I don't ever use them, and you cannot take them in bottles with you. So, you know, very limited use, but they are there if you want them. I'll go ahead and pick you up, Mr. Skulltula. And by pick you up, I mean kill you and take your stuff. Thank you. So in this room we have what looks like Rupees if you're used to the later Zelda games, but these are actually not Rupees. In fact, they actually count as 5 rupees. But they're basically switches that you have to grab all of them in order to open up the doorway to where you need to go. Unfortunately, I did not do a good job of grabbing that one because I L-targeted the spinning thing. There we go. Now you'll notice there was also some pathways on the side, but we can't do anything about those right now because they are obviously frozen shut. Really, a lot of these rooms, it's just about doing your best to avoid stuff. Like, I would avoid enemy contact unless you just absolutely have to deal with it. Because they can be very annoying, especially these ice keys. I hate these things. I was about to say fire keys. I hate the ice keys. They're very irritating. Like the fire bats, they will obviously try to run into, and should they do so, then they will freeze you. They lost you. They're probably more annoying than the freezers, just for the sole fact that they have a lot of range about them. So try to get rid of those as best you can. And it looks like the hookshot is effective. If nothing else, it can pull you towards them, and you can get in a couple slashes. You don't have to defeat them all in this room, by the way. This blue fire, it doesn't seem natural. Maybe you could use it for something? Sure enough, you can, and this is the part where I'm taking away my luxury of having 3 fairies, which I've had for a pretty decent majority of the game, I believe. And I'm going to be tossing them all away in turn for getting this blue fire. Like I said, I'm not concerned about this. This is just a mini dungeon. I have 14 hearts, so I'm not concerned about dying in here. So this isn't a huge, you know, problem for me. If you do feel uncomfortable, you don't have to use up all of the bottles or all the, you know, all the fairies you have. But I would recommend taking 3 bottles of it if you can. If you're low on hearts, then maybe only 2. But if you have 4 bottles, then, you know, save one of the fairies and take 3. 3 is a good number to have, and it's what I'm used to having, so I'm going to go with 3. Just for reference's sake, because I'm not going to pick them up, that right there contains the dungeon map, because this does qualify as a dungeon, so it does have a map and a compass. That over there is a pot that has 50 rupees inside of it. If you want to use your blue fire item that's in the bottle while you're standing next to the little red ice, I guess that's what it's supposed to be, then that will melt the ice, and then you can pick up whatever's inside. So that's kind of the gimmick of the mini dungeon, as it were. But since I'm not going to pick either of those up because I don't need the map, and I certainly don't need the rupees since I'm full on them, I'm not going to worry about it. What I am going to do is head this way, and I may or may not be going the direction I want to. If I go the wrong way, then I'll just, you know, go to the other side, because the 2 entrances are just opposite each other, so it's a little easy to get turned around here. Get rid of that. This is not the way I want to go. This is the actual way to the end of it. The piece of heart's in the other direction, so we want to go the other way first. Once you do melt the red ice, though, then it will remain melted. You don't have to worry about, like, if you leave the room and come back, it's going to be back. It will not be back, so let's head this way. Into a very small room here. There's a couple of keys hanging around, so just fair warning about that. You. There's also some more blue fire in here if you need to restock, which I would highly recommend doing. And there's our piece of heart. As I mentioned, it was in this dungeon, and this is the area that it's in. There's also gold Skulltula in here too, so if you're going for those, then be forewarned about that as well. Right here is obviously another big treasure chest. That one will contain the compass, and it might be that way around. The first one might have had the compass and the other one the map, but it's not really that big a deal, like I said, so let's go ahead and get that gold Skulltula since it's here. Well, I kind of found that at a weird angle, didn't I? At a really weird angle, jeez. Alright, fine. Come here, you. many am I at right now, out of curiosity? 28. Like I mentioned, I'm going to try to get 50 by the time that I finish the game, so... about 60% of the way there. Whoa! Seizure! Probably should have grabbed one more bottle of blue fire before I went back, but I think we'll be okay without it. Because there's another restock in this room here, too. It's a little bit of a puzzle, but there's a restock here, so... So here we obviously have a block pushing puzzle. The first thing, once again, like with most of the puzzles that are in big rooms with lots of bats, the first thing I would recommend doing is getting rid of said bats, because they're annoying. I think there's only like 3 or 4 lurking around here, but yeah, get rid of them, they're annoying. Oh, I thought he got me before I got him there. And he dropped some hearts. I'm going to take these. Now watch out on these corners because you can fall off right here. The corners that have no ground to them are basically designed that if you mess up the puzzle, you can push the block into the abyss, no matter where it is, and start over. Also, there's another token in here. So I'll grab that. So now what you're trying to do is once again collect all of the silver rupees in order to activate the switch. Some of them you can just get by climbing up on them. Some of them you'll have to push the block near, and that's the area it's going to open. So you have to have that open in order to progress. One of them is actually behind a thing of blue fire right there, but there is a blue fire restock in the other end of the room right here as well. So it's not a big deal what order you go in here. I'm pretty sure no matter what you do, you're going to have to push the block at least twice, if not more. But like with all the blocks, make sure that you associate the difference between grab and climb. If you're trying to climb it, make sure you're holding forward while you're in front of it so you can climb it and you won't just push it. And you have to push these blocks. I don't believe you're able to pull them because that would be pushing Link backwards, so I'm pretty sure you are required to push them forward. And they will slide repeatedly until they hit either a wall or a pillar or something that will stop it, or they'll fall off into the abyss. Something like that. Now you see if I pushed it right there, then that would actually take me to the exit. However, like I said, there's another switch that's activated right here, or that you use blue fire to burn right there, that has one of the rupees in it. So a really good way to do this is to work backwards. So you're going to have to make it hit this block. So in order to do that, you're going to have to push it to here, which should be to here. Okay. Working backwards on these puzzles can help a lot, like a surprisingly useful amount, much more than you would expect it to. You have to be careful on some of these corners, though, because it's really easy to fall off, which is why I say get rid of the bats as soon as you possibly can, because they're really irritating. I might have actually put that the wrong way. I don't think that went quite as far as I wanted it to. There we go. I figured a couple of minutes into that I'd probably cut, and then like right after I decided I was going to cut, I figured out exactly what the puzzle was. So I figured I'd just not talk over it, and because then I'd probably be shooting myself in the foot by doing that. Alright, you. Prepare to die. Whoa. Bouncing against the walls right there. Let's grab this. And with that, we are about done with the dungeon. I am going to grab some blue fire on the way out, though, because you want at least one thing of blue fire with you. You only need one, but you do need at least one going back to this area. So, your boss for this area is a White Wolfos, which, as I've already explained, will die in one hit from a backflip followed by a jump attack whenever they slash at you, so not exactly a very good mini-boss to put in there. I would have liked a, I don't know, Stalfos or something. Something a little bit better. Maybe like 2 Stalfos and 2 Armos statues or something. I don't know. Just one Wolfos is kind of lame. You got the iron boots, so heavy you can't run, so heavy you can't float. Well, that's not a very enticing description, now is it? Speaking of enticing, it's chic. I mean, wait, what? Never mind. Moving right along. If you came here to meet the Zoras, you wasted your time. This is all there is. Why would I come to, like, a random spot in Zora's river, or domain, I guess? So with one exception, the Zoras are now sealed under this thick sheet of ice. I managed to rescue the Zora princess from under the ice, but she left for the water temple. Go figure. So Ruto's okay, but that's it. So until we beat this boss, the ice will never melt. And so like she did with the forest and fire and technically the light temple, she will teach us the song that will warp us next to the temple. So we have the Serenade of Water, to reflect upon yourself. There have been some really good remixes of this that people have made on YouTube, like some amazing ones. And I do like this song, to be honest. This one's really good. It's not my favorite, but it's really good. So I'll be quiet while the cutscene plays for it. You've learnt the Serenade of Water. And once again, she gets away before we can, you know, meet him, thank him, ask what else he might know. But let's go ahead and try out our iron boots. So once again, it mentions that you can't run in them, but you can't float in them either, so they're good at keeping you down towards the bottom when you have to get through doors like that one. However, you can't breathe underwater, so if you start choking, you have to take off the boots. Yeah, that's kind of obvious. You can't breathe underwater. What a surprise. Now, like I said, before I leave, I am going to pick up some blue fire. So, I'll need to go back one room before I turn left. Dude, stop hitting that. And if you wonder why, the reason might be already very obvious to you, because if you recall, King Zora was actually frozen in the same red ice that we've been using, that we've been thawing out using the blue fire, so that's what we need it for. Die, you. And like I said, this is the only thing you need it for. You do not need blue fire in the water temple, nor will it show up. The ice cavern is the only area that you might need it. If you honestly want to, which I might as well go ahead and do it, since I've got 2 empty bottles. If you honestly want to, which there's no reason why you have to do this, there is also another spot you can use the blue fire, and that is to thaw out the shop, because the shopkeeper's actually still in there too, so technically, with 2 exceptions, all the Zoras are sealed under the ice. It'll be 3 as soon as we free King Zora. I mean, he's stuck in the shop, but at least he's not, you know, completely frozen and immobile. But that is it for the ice cavern, so let's head back out. I don't know why I went this way. This is clearly not the right way to go. Actually, you know what? We'll use Aurora's Womb. We haven't got to show this one off yet. That way I don't have to worry about it. Da-na-na-na. Man, that green looks so gross. You cast Aurora's Wind. Return to the warp point. Dispel the warp point. Oh, no, it won't let me do that. Okay. For some reason I was thinking it would let you exit a dungeon, but no. I'm thinking of Uku from Twilight Princess, I guess. Oh well, now you know what it looks like. That green always looked really nasty to me, because like I've played Fire Emblem Path of Radiance, and one of the spells you can get in that game that's a wind tome is Tornado, and the tornado's all green and it looks really disgusting. Because that was when the first time I played, I kept the animations on, and I kept the main mage that you have using wind spells. But since I never turned off the animation, I had to watch that every time he got attacked or was attacking. It just looked so gross after a while. I got really tired of seeing it. So, back in Zora's Fountain, very quickly, let's put on our iron boots and drop down to the bottom of this lake here. or pawn, whatever you want to call it. You'll have plenty of time for this. As you can see, I got a minute 46, and we're not going to be down here for that long. The only reason we came down here, and you can't see it because of the camera, there we go, is because there's a piece of heart here. Very nice. Now let's go ahead and take those off. The thing is, the iron boots actually enable you to get a lot of pieces of heart, so there's another one out in Hyrule Field that we could pick up right now too, which if I can get one more piece of heart besides that, I might go ahead and grab it, just so I can have 15 hearts going into the water temple, which the infamy of the water temple has nothing to do with the difficulty in losing hearts. It's all about the puzzles being hard, so that's where the difficulty comes in. So if you're worried about hearts, I wouldn't be. The boss can be a little bit annoying, but I'm going to show you guys when I get there a very, very easy trick to knocking out the boss. So that will not be an issue. So let's go ahead and thaw out King Zora here. And I would highly recommend doing this for two reasons. One, it's almost required, and two, it's also good for another side quest, which I'm going to do before I start the temple as well. But first and foremost, let's go ahead and talk to him. And he'll say, "Oh, I've come back to life. Was it you who saved me? Don't be nervous." I wasn't nervous. "It looks like you have a hard time breathing underwater. As an expression of my gratitude, I grant you this tunic. With this, you won't choke underwater." And you get the Zora tunic. This diving suit is adult size, so it won't fit a kid. Wear it and you won't drown underwater. So I'm going to go ahead and equip that right now, even though I don't need it immediately, but just so I won't have to worry about it later. So that's what the Zora tunic looks like for what I mentioned in the last video. Pick which one you guys want to see for, you know, whichever tunic I should wear. They have no advantages and disadvantages aside from the abilities of, you know, not drowning and not being burned alive by the fire, but aside from that, you don't really use them for anything. So really, this one's only used for the water temple, and the Goron tunic's only really used for the fire temple, so aside from that, it won't matter too much. Now, like I said, there is one other thing I want to do before I head off to the water temple, and I'm going to do that in the next episode. In addition, I'm also going to pick up a piece of heart as well, and if I can find one more or think of one more that I want to get, then I'll go ahead and grab those as well. So we'll have 15 hearts going into the dungeon, because after you finish the dungeon, you should be able to get pretty much all the remaining pieces of heart, with the exception of like 4 or 5. Like, not very many will be left after that. So thank you guys for watching. This has been Pit Marthroy with the Let's Play of Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, and I will see you guys in the next one for a little bit of side questing before we head to the water temple. I am going to make sure to get all that side questing done in one video, though, because I want to start the video with the water temple. So for those of you that are using it for a guide, you can just hop straight to it. So see you guys then. Later.